Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about some very useful settings that you might want to change in IntelliJ, whether you are new to it or you've been using it for a while, maybe just didn't know these settings existed. And I'll be going through them, the importance of them, and why you should change them, possibly. Now, this isn't like a guide to the best settings to have in IntelliJ. These are just things that you should know about. And that being said, let's get straight into the video. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to go from bottom to top on these settings. So yeah, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about here is going to be the theme. And the theme is basically what makes what the IDE is going to look like. The colors, if it's light mode or dark mode, what that text color is going to be looking like, all that good stuff is all involved in the theme. And this is a very controversial part of what your IDE will look like, because we're going to go here and you see we have a bunch of themes here. So the one I use is Nightfall, if at all you were interested in that. So I'm going to start with the dark. As you can see, dark looks a lot like it, maybe with just a few color changes. Now, if you're watching this video in the dark, then might I suggest you like maybe lower the brightness, turn it away, because it's about to get real bright once I show off the second one. And yeah, you can have it like this if you're in light mode, and if you want the light header as well, you can have that. And basically this changes the entire IDE, all the menus and everything else if you want. And also got the high contrast, which is just hideous, but I mean, if you need it to be high contrast, then you can do that. We also have this Darkula, which is, I don't know. And then we have the Microsoft Visual Studio 2019 Dark. You can also get more themes from the store. So there's all that. You can change the data color scheme. You can have a theme, and then you can change what the colors are going to be looking like with all these settings, like we said. You can also change the zoom, you can change the font, you can change the font size, you can support all these different settings. Compact mode just makes it utilize more of the space, basically. You can have all of these settings, which I don't really touch. Most of these are default. Yeah, they're all default. The one thing I do change is the background image here, which literally you can have whatever picture you want here. You can even select from your storage. And all I have to do is just pick one, and then you can change around the opacity, which is basically how bright it's going to be. So like this, if you want. Just make sure it's not too bright so that it actually doesn't conflict with your thing. And then you can pick whether it's this project only. You can change for editor and tools. So editor and tools is where you type, and the empty frame is when you don't have any class open, you're not editing anything. So you're gonna have to set these separately though. So if you want editor and tools, you're gonna have to go for editor and tools, and then come back and also set it for empty frame. Now you can pick it to either be something like this, to just maybe cut out. You can have it fill, you can have multiple of these. It's really up to you, whatever you'd like to do. And you can also pick different areas of the picture, really up to you. I use this one by default with 38. And then yeah, that's the one that I use. All right, so the next setting that I definitely do is this. This is on by default, the confirm before exiting the IDE. So if you accidentally ever exit out of the IDE, it will confirm whether or not you're actually meant to exit, or if you pressed it by accident. This is good when you're typing and maybe you just end up at the top there. It asks you whether or not you're sure you want to do that. So, and they also have this: when you're closing a tool window with the running process, you either terminate the process, you disconnect immediately, or you can ask whether or not what you want to do with it. And this is a very useful one, that if you want to reopen projects on startup. Now this is completely up to you. Personally, I leave this on by default, which means that each and every time that you boot up, it will open up to the previous project that you were doing when you closed it. If you didn't have any open projects, it takes you to the new project page. And you also have this where you can actually set that each and every time you actually open a brand new project or insert another project, it will open up in the same window, it will open in the current window. And then you can also set your default project directory here. You can change your autosave settings. These are usually settings that I don't touch, but very useful to know if you do want to touch upon them. They do exist. All right, so up next we have got a very fun part of IntelliJ, which I definitely touch upon a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen that whenever I'm creating a new class, I have a shortcut. C, if I'm creating a new package, I have P for the shortcut. To enter distraction free mode, I have Control Alt and 1. And you also have a lot of the defaults. So if you ever wanted to know about shortcuts in IntelliJ, this is the place to do it. You can just go here and you see add or remove caret is Alt Shift plus click, and then you got all of these. But if you ever feel like you're not satisfied with the shortcut, or maybe it's just way too complicated, like this one for example, then you can just go over here, double click, and you can actually add. You can add a keyboard shortcut, add mouse shortcut. You can add an abbreviation. You can remove the shortcut. You can remove the control plus insert. Really up to you. And you can also just search. So for example, I want to edit configurations. You'll notice that we have this shortcut, which I have manually set. This is not here by default. Edit configuration, control plus 2. You just right click on that, and then you can set up your own changes. Right here, you can do that. Up next, under the editor, we have got a few options here, which is going to be, we can change the auto import, you can change the appearance, you can change the breadcrumbs. So mouse control is basically how you can like change fonts. So if you hold, if you have this on, you can press control and then mouse wheel in or mouse wheel out to zoom in and out. Basically makes the text bigger, make the text smaller, and you don't even have to go to the settings. Really up to you. The default is going to be 13, however, so if you ever want to do that, then that's something that you might like to know. And then move code fragments to drag and drop is another useful one. So basically you have this, let's say you have this email in here, you don't want it to be in there, you can just select it and then you can just drag it out like that, and then you can always just put it back in. If you want to copy, you just hold down control and you can have that. All right, so next up I've got the code editor here, which this highlight on caret movement, this is a very useful tool for knowing what curly brace belongs to where. This is very useful if you have a lot of like nested ifs, and this just means that if you select this, for example, it will tell you that the closing brace for this one is this one right here. You can also follow this line right here, whichever one you decide to choose. Now that's about it. I don't usually touch on any one of these. We also have the font, where like I said, you can also change the font, and when I say can change fonts, you have got a lot of options. All of these, really, you have so many to choose from. It really just comes down to which one you have of choice. Of course, you can change this. Now, I personally don't change the font because I like JetBrains Mono, it just looks cool. Next up, we come to the color scheme, and here's basically where you can pick the different types of colors. Now, the color scheme is of course held by your current theme, but if you don't like maybe the defaults of the theme, you can always change like I do. So you can have general, you can have the language defaults, color scheme, and then you can have them set for different languages. You can have it for VCS, you can have it for Java, HTML, JSON, Kotlin, you can have it for XML. All of this you can actually change. Now, since obviously this channel and probably a lot of the content you're going to be seeing here is based off Java, we're just going to change the Java settings. So here you can see you can get annotations, braces, and operators, or you could just press, you could just click on what you want to see. For example, escape sequences weren't always orange like this. They would actually fit in with them. They would actually blend in with the string. So by default, it may have this checked. So as you can see, it was checked like this. So it was really difficult to see where the string starts and where the escape sequence ends. So you first disable this, and then you can pick a background, you can pick the foreground, you can pick the arrow stripe mark, you can change effects, really up to you. And you change this so that you can actually see. And let's say, for example, once you change their keywords, you can change the color of those, you can change the color of this. I did not mean to change that, I don't think. Yeah, so you can just type reassign the value, you can type the field, you can type the method, curly braces, you can just tap on whatever you want and just completely customize the colors, comments. And this comes in very useful if maybe your background wallpaper conflicts with some of the colors in your current theme. You can always change that up if you want. Another useful shortcut is going to be the inspections, and basically this controls what warnings and errors you get. I think it's warnings and errors. So you can actually pick code maturity, class metrics, class structure. So I have it changed so that whenever I comment out code, it doesn't give me an annoying weak warning that you commented out this code. Next up, we move to plugins, which are very, very useful things. So they go from, this is where you also get themes. You can get themes. For example, you've got the Nightfall theme, the Visual Studio 2019 Dark. You can get build tools. These are bundled, which means they come with the IDE, but you can always just get this. Like Grazy Pro is for basically just grammar in your comments. Key Promoter X, this is what tells you when you've missed a shortcut. Minecraft development, if you're into Minecraft modding, all that kind of good stuff. So these are the installed ones. You can always go to the marketplace and just search up ones that you would like, and there are a ton of plugins to pick up. These I just use 5. I'm not too big on plugins. I don't really use them too much, but basically this is what I have. And yeah, there's a decent bit. You can also have NetBeans keymaps, Eclipse keymaps, Visual Studio keymaps. If you are coming from Visual Studio Code, you can have the keymaps from that IDE imported into IntelliJ. Basically that it's a lot easier for you to just fit in. Now, as someone who is constantly reinstalling IntelliJ, I find it very useful to back up my settings. So you can either just you can export the settings here. So you can export the settings here. They're exported into a zip file, which you can keep in a secure location. And then when you reinstall, you just press import settings, you select that zip file, and it applies most of your settings. Not quite all of them, but a good number of them are actually saved. Now, let's say you don't want to actually export and have to keep them in file. You just want to log into your account, your IntelliJ, your JetBrains account, and have all your settings backed up. You're gonna have to do this, all these changes here. If you do that, if you don't, if you like reinstall, you might have to change it in one of these. Now, IntelliJ has a way of changing that, which is going to be the settings sync. Okay, so settings sync is basically that your settings are synced to your JetBrains account, which obviously you need a JetBrains account first. But once you create one and log in, your UI settings, keymaps, code settings, your plugins, you can even select which plugins are there. You can change the tools, the system settings, and you can sync settings across IntelliJ IDEA instances only. That's if you're only into Java, but if you want to do like Python or Ruby, you can have all those settings amongst all those other ones if you pick this setting here. Now, I only use IntelliJ and Android Studio, which doesn't even have settings sync, so I don't know why I don't just have it on here. But anyways, it's there if you wanted to do that. So this basically means that whenever you install on a different PC, maybe you reinstall Windows, all you have to do is just log in with your JetBrains account, and all of these settings will be synced on that new PC. All right, so that will go and do it for the video. Those are the settings that I use mostly. As you can see, we have custom here. This came in natural. I do have, I think it's custom comments as well. Yeah, I think comments are kind of the way. Because because the previous one, the setting, the comments just blended in a bit too well with this color that's in the background, so I had to make it a bit brighter so I could actually see it. Java docs will look like this. This is also a custom color. Really hope you guys learned something. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.